Hello, and welcome back to my series where I am interviewing gorgeous, lovely souls that I have come across in my life and had the the wonder, or the amazing opportunity to actually share their journeys with them. So, quite a lot of them happen to be my clients on the transformational truth of tarot because I've been able to witness their journey for, say, 6 months quite closely. So today I'm here with the beautiful Kat from Croatia. Hello, Kat.
Hello, Tiffany.
Hello, thank you for joining me here today and being willing to talk about your story, because I think your story has been quite a fast wake up call, would we say? Yeah. So obviously, I would like you to tell it, but just to give a little background of what happened, I think, I can't remember when it was, but I just remember one of my already graduated students giving you a reading in my larger Facebook group, the Inner Transformation group with Tiffany Crisara. And then we were on a call somehow, and straight on that call, you were like, yes, I need this. I'm going to do it. But I think you were in a place where your health was challenging you, and that was becoming a spiritual catalyst for you to find your own answers out. But it was all happening quite quickly for you. So it feels to me like you kind of got forced out of one world and into another really quite quickly. So, how did it happen for you? You tell the viewers your story, how it happened.
Okay, so basically it was just like you described it, but now it sounds really easy and it seems so natural that when these things was happening, I was terrified, scared, lost on every level. First of all, because my health issues, because it was a kind of autoimmune disease, so nobody knows what's going on, so we couldn't find a cure. And I was just absolutely terrified because I'm a vegan, healthy lifestyle freak. I do exercises, so I was just like convinced that something like this, it's impossible that something like this will ever happen to me. And somehow, one sleepless night, because I couldn't sleep for a month. So I was in this state between, in the middle of nowhere. I felt something like ask for help, and I wasn't sure what kind of help, to whom I should ask. But I just said, something like, okay, I have no idea what to do. I have no idea what's going on. Please help me. Somebody, please help me. And from this point, things started moving. And somehow, I have no idea how, it just popped in my head, tarot. So I started searching on internet for tarot because I knew what's this, it's like this common knowledge. And I pretty fast found your big group and had this reading with Harriet, and I was amazed by her skills, and I felt, oh my god, I want to do the same. And she told me a bit about the course, and she stated that the course is absolutely perfect for me. And while having our call, I had no doubt that it's something for me. So it was really fast, and but I must admit that I was like, it was like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
One part of myself was sure that it's the right way, and the other one was like, oh my god, what's wrong with you, Carol? Seriously, girl. So it was like a huge battle, just like epic battle between my rational mind and this part, let's say, authentic part, which was like emerging during this process.
Mm.
And first, it was really related to my health issues. And then when I started the course, within the 6 months, I think that everything, like every kind of shit I've ever suppressed, came into surface. The journey was really a huge transformation for me. It was really, really difficult, but somehow something was telling me, keep going, it will be better. And there were a lot of times when I was, how can it ever can be better? It's impossible. But I was just like, okay, let's finish this. I'm a very goal-oriented person, so I just like said to myself, we started, let's finish it. You will see at the end. Can't say working or not. You are in the middle. But very, very fast, I got very tangible results, because when we started doing these exercises related to activation of your intuition, I was like, I have no connection with my intuition. What do you want from me? Just like, how can I know something about the card when I didn't read it before? And I was just like, okay, she's crazy, but I will. Yeah, really. Now I can tell you. It was like, oh my god. And then this amazing thing happened, like, yeah, I can do this. And with a diligent practice, because I was really, really committed to the course and all those exercises and tasks, I saw results. So even when I felt really, really bad, even if things I believe are true for me, and I realized that they are not, even when all these things were happening, I felt somehow secure. You and the group gave me so much support. So it was crucial. Now I see that it was crucial for me to go through this thing. And now I'm telling people it was the best thing I've ever done for myself.
Okay, wow. So let's just recap on that. So first of all, you were already vegan before you had the health crisis. Okay. And you had just done Reiki as well when we had connected.
I did Reiki when the whole thing started, because when I started realizing that it's not only about my health, but it's something more. It's something about energy and something about spiritual life. Then the Reiki came. But when I was thinking about it lately, I realized that somehow, without realizing it, I was preparing myself for this crisis and this process and this, let's say, awakening, because I think that we can use this word for this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I was practicing yoga, I was reading a lot of books about everything, about spiritual life, about psychology, about emotions. So, and I realized this while on a course when I did tarot feelings, or when I started working with cards, because a lot of messages for me are like are related to things I read before. My intuition works through music, it's one part, and through words, through things I read before, and now they're coming back to me. So
yes, well, that's an interesting point, because intuition, it's like you can't see anything that you haven't already seen before. So it's a bit like in What the Bleep, when the ship comes over the horizon and they can't really see it because they've never really seen it. It's kind of like when your guides communicate with you, they use your memory store. They use that, because otherwise you can't really recognize it. So it sounds to me like really where you were at was in an incredibly sensitive place. It feels to me like, you have been so clean with yourself for so long that, my gran always says to me, like, there's a bit of, if something's on the floor, it doesn't matter, eat it. A bit of dirt never did you any harm, and it's, I'm probably going to become ill now I've said this, but I'm kind of in a gloating period at the moment because my husband's had a cold for 2 weeks, and like it hasn't touched me at all. But speaking of which, I have started a detox today, and when we do things like detoxing and things, that is when we start being really healthy, or really looking after ourselves, that all the stuff that's been repressed comes out. All the stuff that we've armored ourselves with just to really get through life on a day-to-day basis, by kind of becoming really healthy in our mind, body and soul, we're taking that armor off. And quite often the body at some point goes, I can't live this way anymore. The armor has to come off now, because it's never the right time, is it? It's never a convenient time to take your armor off. And so then when the body does that, it throws a person into quite a crisis, mentally, emotionally, and especially when doctors don't really know what's going on, and that it's something more than that. And like you say, it's terrifying, because it's like, what the heck is happening? But you're forced to find out your own answers, and you're forced to take the armor off. And I think the thing with the transformational truth of tarot is that's what it does as well. It's like, that's what that course does, isn't it? It's like it de-armors you, and it's like, find your own answers.
And I've learned I learned a lot, but I think it's one of the things now, the most important for me, is that you will get, the more you are open, the more you will get from the tarot, from the course, from the group. So I must admit, I'm very open person in terms, it's easy for me to establish a contact, but I'm not very willing to share things with people. So it was my first challenge. Okay, now the point is to share all this stuff with people who don't know. And at some point, I was in the middle of this epic mess, and I think it was like kind of 2 weeks when I wasn't so much involved, and I just saw the result, that I felt less connected to the cards, to myself, to the group. I felt that I started drifting away from this thing I've already achieved. So it was like another time when I knew that I need to force myself to be more involved, and it was a kind of like forcing myself, but in a gentle way, and in a way that I know that it's healthy, it's good, it will bring me something what I need.
So yeah, there's different types of force in the world, isn't there? There's the force that, we're forcing ourselves to do things which aren't good for us, and then there's the force of like forcing ourselves to do things that are good for us. And I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes, really, because I'm thinking about this, spiritual crisis that you had, that was coming through on the physical level for you as well, and that you set an intention. You were asking for help, and then you got a message through that said tarot, and you were like, what? And then you found my group, and then you had the reading with Harriet. You were blown away by that reading. She told you about the course and said it would be perfect for what you need right now, because it's not just learning tarot, is it? It's like, it's so much more than that. It's incredible. It is learning tarot, but it's learning tarot in terms of like how to connect with it for your soul evolution, really, isn't it? And then the reading is part of that comes through quite naturally. So there you are, because you teach, don't you? So you have a rational, when you said, your rational mind was like, tarot? really, and you had to, but there was this other part of you that was growing quite strong, it sounds like, and was like, no, this is right and this is what I need to do. And then you had to go through sharing yourself with people. And it does feel like you did very well, in that first, I would guess, 14 weeks when, we're going through the journey of the cards, and it's like the rhythm of the cards just takes you through. Like you say, even when it's difficult, it's just like it takes you through. It kind of pulls you through, rather than some other types of things, which is like it's difficult, it's hard work, and there's a rhythm or a force or something that just goes boom, you're on it, it's got its own life and it's happening. And then I think at the stage of the 14 weeks where the internal journey starts to be externalized, people can have withdrawal symptoms in a way from, that kind of force that carries you through. So it sounds like you're resonating with that. Does that feel kind of like what happened for you?
Yeah, I felt something like this, but it wasn't so strong because in the meantime, I established my own routine with tarot, especially with the tarot Philly and doing, okay, I will say spreads, but it's not about predicting anything.
Yeah.
It was more about working with cards. Meditation with cards, my thing. I really like this. But when you just like trying to summarize my story and said that I set an intention, it struck me that because I didn't know what I was doing and it worked, and basically the same thing happened when I realized after it's like while doing a course when I started searching for more information about tarot, that your way of perceiving tarot and using the tarot is really special and very different from the majority of us, let's say. And I guess that if I choose something like tarot as a predictive tool, I wouldn't stick to it because it's not my thing. And your way of drawing with tarot is perfect for me because what I'm still amazed by this fact, because when you have cards, you have a kind of a framework, but there's nothing inside. You have to put something inside, and then you have a feedback. So it's at the very same time there is something and there is nothing. So I don't feel any kind of pressure. I don't feel that anything is established and I need to learn something, I need to achieve something. It's more about allowing things to grow organically, which is beautiful and which wasn't my way of living or thinking, because I was very rational, very like I know that it sounds stupid, but I thought that I need to have a plan for my whole life, and it's a good life. And when I was just like, going step by step with this my plan, I became so bored and so tired of my life and my plan, but I thought that it's the right way. Everybody's are telling us to do this. And then when I realized and I learned that life can happen. You don't need to control it. Life can bring you much better things than you think you can get. I was just like, oh my God. Amazing! Wow!
Yeah, the tarot is incredible like that. I mean, it really, it's like all we do is we kind of have a chat, and it's like, yeah, I'm in, or no, I'm not in, and then it's like, yeah, no, you're the right person, or no, it's not right for you right now. Try these things first. Come back in 6 months. We'll see where you're at. And then when you get into the group, it's like, here you go. This is a whole new world. And it's like, I just watch. It's like, it's like the tarot does the teaching, doesn't it? It's just like you say, it's you and a deck, and in a way it's like you are half of that deck. It's like the deck is incomplete without it. It's like what it does, I think, is it brings down the okay, this thing I watched that we were talking about just before I pressed the record button, which said that actually the chances of every single one of us being here, like everyone that is on this planet and is born, scientists did the odds of us being born, and it was something like 1 in 400,000 trillion. It was something stupid. Yeah. And it's like, okay, are we supposed to believe that just because science says? But if we look at it in the spiritual sense, you know, and I'm splitting hairs here, spiritual or science, you know, to me, they're one and the same thing. The whole talk that I was watching about this was saying about how we are one in that stupid, ridiculous, infinite number. And, you know, how we have ideas and we have thoughts and we don't do anything. We don't believe in it. We don't have faith in ourselves. But we're one in blah, blah, blah. More than 1 in a million. It was like 1 in something completely stupid. And I think the point, what I'm trying to say here is with the tarot, what happens is you get that thought, you get that idea. It's mirrored back to you by the tangibility of those cards. You can see it there in front of your face, and you enter into a working relationship with the gods and the goddesses and the archetypes that are appearing to you. And it just unlocks something inside of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and lately I was talking with a friend, and this sentence appeared, and now I started sharing some very wise things with my friends, and they are all like, "Oh my God, it's cool!" And I'm saying like, "It's not me, it's the universe. I'm not that smart."
Yeah, but you are the universe.
That's I'm this part which is delivering, but no, it's not my little.
Yeah.
Saying this thing, but I realized that I was so unsatisfied with myself and with my life without a reason, because life with all those ridiculous numbers is like kind of a present for us. And I was holding it in my hands, and I was like, oh my God, it's so stupid and boring, but I even didn't open it. And with tarot, I just opened this beautiful, amazing, stunning present and started enjoying it. And now I feel how beautiful life is, how amazing I am as a part of this thing. So it's like a completely different life. I really have this feeling. I'm not sharing this with everybody. It sounds weird. I'm like, I have a second life. In my one life, now I have a second life, second chance, and everything is different. It's the same, because I didn't change my job yet. My everyday routine is more or less the same. So if you look from the outside, and myself and my life, there's nothing new, nothing spectacular, but it's completely different.
It's interesting because so far I think I've interviewed Fingal, I've interviewed Claire, I've interviewed Tim, I've interviewed you, and it's kind of half and half. Like there's definite kind of like crossovers. So with you and Fingal, it's the health crisis that activated the spiritual crisis. His life has completely changed from high flying fashion designer to going on a horse for 6 months and around Europe, and just being completely nomadic and reading tarot on the road, which is amazing. Follow that mule on Instagram if you want to know that. Claire's life has completely changed from leaving an unhappy relationship, selling a house, buying her own house, and her and her son being really happy in a new relationship, which again has been about de-armoring, which is also an ongoing process. And then Tim came on board because, he really needed to find self-acceptance in the face of extreme fanatical religion that was all around him. and wondered whether his life would change. And actually, no, it's just he's got good with his self-acceptance. But for him, that's been huge. That's been massive. So, we tend to measure success as how things have changed externally because we can't see what it is internally. But actually, I think Tim put it really well on his thing. He said, like, if you're feeling like the outside things need to change, then you're attached. If you're attached to that, then you're in bondage and you're not free. And I was like, oh wow. And I just get the same feeling speaking to you now. It's like a feeling of like, doesn't need to change. If it changes, it changes. But what really matters is how I feel every day that I get up in my life. And that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what happens in the external if I'm not feeling connected, if I'm not feeling alive, if I'm not feeling like, wow, this is an amazing universe and I'm so happy to be here. Which I know, you had your moments, like, and I'm sure still do, as we all do, of that kind of real difficult dark night of the soul. And again, that comes out quite a lot. You're kind of excavating that on the journey as well. And so, being someone that's gone through that, what would you say to people that might be listening to this and thinking, God, that just sounds really full on, and I'm not sure that I could do that?
I would say give it a try, because until you try, you can't say. No, it was when I started the course, and my little voice was so sure about it. It was one little voice, and there were like thousands very loud voices. What are you doing? So if I had to answer this question at the beginning, I would say just like, I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. Okay, but I think that's the point. If you don't know, first give yourself permission to try and fail, because it's the other thing I've learned. We label it as a failure, but it's just an experience. Everything is welcome, and I really, it's like I had a lot of issues about control, about I'm still like, I want to be perfect still.
Okay.
Yeah, but now I can laugh about it, and I what's the best? Just like, some things change, some things are still the same, but I like realize what I can change and what I can just like learn how to handle. So still, I can't say I control my life, because it's not about controlling, but I feel like it's my life. I'm in charge. And when I feel I want to control something, I can do it. If I feel I don't need to control life, then I don't need to do it. It's just like, I feel so much freedom. So I guess that give it a try. It's like, try if this kind of freedom is for yourself. It's something which you definitely need to try.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there about the control element. I think maybe what it is like, you feel empowered, and so there's being empowered, and then there's trying to have power over life, which is actually totally disempowering. Yeah. And yeah, okay. Well, I'll let you into the secret. I like to be perfect as well, but I'm past trying. Actually, is perfect overrated? Maybe if we were perfect, we might just annoy other people. I have learned to embrace imperfections, and like you say, that is such a liberation in itself, and it really does have a knock-on effect for others as well, doesn't it? It's like this sense of like, oh wow, look, I can be myself. And I think, that's what we have to remember. We're one in four Scythian, Byzantine, whatever, and, we really do have to be ourselves. And I think this is also the Fool's Journey of the tarot, is all about your uniqueness and activating your uniqueness. And that's probably why there is so much self-acceptance. Whether, you change your house, you change your job, you change your marriage, you change your country, or any of the other full-on things that can actually happen on the external in life anyway, and also through the course, whether it's that or not, what people come out with, I think, is self-acceptance on a level of the Fool's Journey. And it feels to me like you've just gone through a really big, massive spiritual awakening, and you weren't even really aware of the tarot, really. So for that to be the answer in your head is quite interesting, because it wasn't like you were into it or knew much about it at all, really.
Mm-mm. And the best thing was that I wasn't against it. I just wasn't interested in it. I didn't think that it's for me.
Yeah.
And when I started, I was just okay. Let's make an experiment. And what there's so many things. Those tiny bites. When I'm thinking about when you were saying that we very often say that be yourself, be your authentic self. But for me, and I guess for a lot of people, the point is that you have no idea where you are and where are those things you got from your family, from society. So for me, it wasn't only allowing myself to be myself. It was discovering myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's hard, because suddenly I realized things that I'm for example, I have this kind of qualities, and there is nothing wrong about it. I just need to see how can I use it in a good way. And I wasn't aware. I was very critical towards myself. It's one thing I realized during the course, because I was so focused on I can't do this, I don't know how to do this, I don't have this, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was doing all this and later other things, I realized, okay, but I've got enough courage to start with this. I was persistent in doing this. And then I realized, no, okay, I'm not there. No, it's so discovering myself. It was falling in love with myself. Really.
Yeah.
And now English is not my mother tongue, so sometimes these phrases we use sounds a bit, cheesy and awkward for me, I must admit. But now I feel something when I say things like this. When it was only some idea, some concept. And now I felt it in my body. And it was also one of the results that I became very sensual and body creature. And I realized how wise body is. And it's a really great source of wisdom. And it's just stupid and not logical and rational not to use this kind of wisdom.
Yeah, totally. We're walking around in it all the time. Absolutely. So yes, you became very rhythmical, didn't you? It's a very rhythmical journey, and I think I remember that it was you that said, "Oh, get ready to realize that you didn't know who you were."
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think you've just said that beautifully, haven't you? About, well, we're told to be ourselves, but how do we know who we are? We've got so much conditioning, and that this is actually to know thyself. Is the most difficult and the most amazing, rewarding, and the most important thing in the world to do in our lifetime, according to Socrates. And who's going to argue with him or Plato?
For me, it was a bit difficult at the beginning because I was in those old paradigm that there is something there are like steps and there will be kind of result, and everything is like linear and logical, and it doesn't work that way, and it's beautiful because it's just like, discovering yourself every day. Only if I allow myself. There are some days when I need to be very focused, when I have a lot of work, and I just need to be efficient. That's all. And my practice is really, really minimal, although now my main task is to combine those two. I don't want to have my spiritual life and my normal life.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So now I'm trying to balance this, but when I'm like more relaxed, it's just like I'm still discovering myself, and it's so beautiful. Just like it's really the best thing you can do in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Except having good food, good sex, and the rest. Amazing.
Oh, thank you so much for your time today. And so, if you are out there and you're feeling like, yeah, I didn't think tarot was for me, or I can resonate with Kat's story about, having weird things going on with my body and my spirituality and not really understanding what it is, and I don't think tarot is for me. You're actually starting to see through this that actually it's more than what meets the eye, and it's about getting to know thyself and being okay with whatever happens on the external, rather than trying to control the external as we usually think we do with tarot, in terms of like what's going to happen. This is, it has an element of that, but really that's just like 10% of 90% world here. So if you're feeling like discovering it and giving it a try, as Kat wisely says, how will you know otherwise? Then just click the button underneath and come through, and we will see if it's time for you to discover this whole new world. So, Kat, are you doing readings now, or can people find you anywhere?
I'm preparing to offer some readings because I really enjoy giving readings to others. Although I feel that I still need more time to find my own way of giving readings. And if I may add only one thing, I really want to say that I'm so grateful for having you as a teacher. Because I felt so secure and so supported every time I needed it, that I think that it was a crucial thing for me to finish the course and enjoying my life now as I'm doing it. So thank you very much.
It's been my absolute pleasure all the way through, and I'm sure it will continue in some way, shape or form. Thank you so much for jumping off the cliff and doing the Fool's Journey with us and sharing your story today. Bye-bye for now. And remember, if you want to try, just click that pink link. I promise you nothing bad will happen. Just press it. Bye.